Welcome back to Focus on Liberia. Now, in this part two, we're going to be discussing the court cases. So, my guest is Anthony James N. Jensen, who is joining us from the city of brotherly love. Anthony Jensen, are you there?
I'm here. I think
We're not.
you have to allow me in, right?
Yeah, we are not. You are on the screen, but we are not able to see you. You
Um.
are invisible. So,
Okay.
in our
Okay.
second,
Okay. Yeah. Just again in a second, please.
yeah. So in this other issue, what we see here is in the Cummings in the forgery case, former Vice President Joseph Newman Boakai has been subpoenaed, and let's start from there. So when he was subpoenaed, it took some time, and he needed some time. He appeared. The first thing he said was he couldn't swear on a photocopy of the document, so they have to subpoena the one in that Neck has, which is supposed to be the original. The next thing that we've heard in the news is it was reported on Front Page Africa that the Solicitor General met with Vice President Boakai, and so people started saying if that is legal. So we're going to be talking about all those issues, but first, the again, walk me through this whole subpoena thing. Why was he subpoenaed? Why was that necessary? And what is the relationship of the Solicitor General, who's the chief prosecutor, to witness Joseph Boakai? I mean, in regards to the case, not personal relationship.
Well, the subpoena is a means through which a court could decide to get clarity on some issues of law or some questions that will raise a doubt in the minds of the court. And the parties, either party can decide and say, wait a minute, we believe John Brown or this person has uh, clarity or has information sufficient to provide the clarity that we all need. The purpose of justice is not to please one particular group, is to ensure that justice is done through a particular, justice is done. So in the case of the CPP, there is a document said to have been altered. So then the court, the magisterial court, is now believing, maybe on request of the prosecuting team, that indeed Joseph Barkay is the best person that they believe in, that he can say what the document is like. Now, I would think that that's a sign of defeat for the United Party and the ALP to even summon Joseph Barkay at this time around. Why am I saying that? I've said before that the National Election Commission is a constitutional body that is established by the framers of the Constitution. And by that standard, the National Election Commission has a court, has a judicial body. It means the National Election Commission has the authority to hear parties that have concerns over matters that is before that body. Now, the failure of the United Party and the ALP to have sought clarification or to have told the Election Commission that there was a document that was fraudulent before that body, uh, from which they would have gotten evidence to run to court, now reveal itself. Joseph Barker says that he cannot testify on a photocopy. Now, he is very right, because the document before the National Elections Commission, before the magisterial court, is not the original document. I have said that over and over on this platform and over other platforms, that the magisterial court is not the proper forum for this case to have gone from the onset. Why? Because this is an electoral issue. This is an issue that bordering political parties. A document that was sworn to, that was filed with the National Election Commission, any party that is in disagreement with that document, that party is to first go before that body and establish any fraudulent act that was done. And therefore, they would have proceeded. Based on the ruling from that court, they would have proceeded for a criminal trial. But as it stands, they are now struggling. It's like they are fishing for evidence. Now, they go before Joseph Braga this summer. Now, I do not know the intent or the specific reason why Joseph Braga was summoned. Because if the court wanted Joseph Braga to testify on a particular issue, Joseph Braga should not even be telling the people, say, hey, I cannot testify on this document. As far as we're concerned, there is a specific document before the magisterial court. So if Joseph Braga is saying, I cannot testify on this document, suggest to some of us, is that a case? If you cannot testify to this document, but this is the document that the UP, your party, meaning Joseph Braga's party, and the ALP has run to court with. So why Joseph Braga cannot testify to that document? Now he says he won the court to go for the document that is before the NEC. You see what the problem is? Why the party could not go for a hearing before that body to exhibit or to have challenged this document before them. Now, what we're going to be watching is, can the National Election Commission appear before the magisterial court and testify? Can the National Election Commission take the electoral document before the magisterial court? Now, I believe very strongly the National Election Commission is charged with the responsibility to conduct a credible election. That should be a body that is independent. That should be a body that conducts the affairs of political activities in that country. So if the National Election Commission will subject herself to the magisterial court, now the question will be asked, what is the constitutional provision that says the National Election Commission is not answerable to the Honorable Supreme Court? We want to be watching out for that too. All right. So will the National Election Commission appear before the magisterial court to say, wait a minute, we have the document in our possession, you have called us to bring it, we bring it to you? Or will we watch the National Election Commission writing a forceful letter to the magisterial court to tell them, hey, wait a minute, you are going beyond your bounds. As far as we are concerned, we are a constitutional child. We are not a statutory child. We were born by the Constitution of Liberia. Therefore, any issue surrounding our activities is answerable before the Supreme Court, not you. Now, right. Some lawyer will want to ask the question, let's say, this is a criminal case. Say it's a criminal case, the National Election Commission is not a party to it. But you want electoral document to be submitted before that body. I would think those who rush to the magisterial court miss the first step. That case will be thrown out by the magisterial court in the final analysis. That is my analysis. The magisterial court will definitely throw that case out no matter all of the hulu balu that's going on, because Joma Jala knows very well that he has no jurisdiction over the National Election Commission. Why if the National Election Commission says she's not going? Let's just put it that way. Why if she says, she write and say, you know what, I'm a constitutional child, I'm not answerable to you, so I am not coming. With no disrespect, but I have a duty. If you want me to appear, write the Supreme Court, let the Supreme Court make the decision whether or not we're supposed to appear.
So Anthony Jensen, there are two things here. The first thing they asked for was the original copy. They say subpoena duce tecum.
Right.
Meaning they should bring in a document. Does the magisterial court has the right to subpoena the original copy that belongs to the NEC for them to take it to the court? Do they have that right?
The law as to subpoena is a right given unto the court. But the usage of that, now, anyone that is subpoenaed, you have a right first and foremost to seek a lawyer's advice. And I think the National Election Commission has a lawyer. They're going to be looking at that request very seriously. It is not in a better mind of those who want to see a credible election, a credible electoral body, to be appearing before a magisterial court on these matters. all electoral matters is handled in the case of a complaint filed by a hearing officer, meaning there is a jurisdiction. The framers of the Constitution knew that in a political sphere like this, there would be problems. So then they gave that authority to the National Election Commission to first and foremost hear all electoral matters, hear all political matters, and make a decision. And anyone dissatisfied, you go to the Board of Commissioners. Right. If you go to the Board of Commissioners and yet you are not satisfied, you go to the NEC, to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. Now, the issue of criminality, let me put it this way: if the National Election Commission was involved in some criminal act, the Liberia National Police is responsible for the entire country to police the country. Now, the Liberia National Police can gather evidence as to acts of criminality conducted by any of the Board of Commissioners or anybody within the National Election Commission. In the absence of that, cases like this, in my view, it's just a political case. It should be before the National Election Commission. Had the National Election Commission decided that, look, Cummings, you all filed this document, but your colleagues have filed an alternative document that this is what you did. From all of the hearing, maybe Joseph Boga would have gone before the National Election Commission and testified to the falsity of the document before it, and then they would have found rationale, they would have found reason to say this document, indeed, from what is being said and proven from all testimony, this document is fraudulent. Therefore, we question the authenticity of the document before us. In the face of that, National Election Commission would have taken some other steps as to what they would have done. Now, let me say this. The National Election Commission cannot shoot herself in the leg. Really? They have conducted an election. And the election conducted, we have senators in the Liberian Senate. Can the National Election Commission, for any reason, go before the magisterial court and tell them, say, you know what, this document before, or there's nothing wrong with this and that, other stuff? Or will the National Election Commission take the entire electoral document, not just the framework document? As far as election is concerned, the National Election Commission has conducted an election. The electoral material is part and parcel, is in the file of the CPP. Right. Is the National Election Commission prepared to take all of the documents to the magisterial court? We want to see that. How that's going to happen? I'm curious.
Thank you.
Because I feel that the Supreme Court is the only body that the National Election Commission is answerable to. Anything contrary, it raises constitutional questions.
Right. So from what I'm hearing from you, the magisterial court cannot call in the NEC or even subpoena the original document from the NEC.
The original document for the NEC is not a criminal indictment on the National Election Commission. Joseph Boga cannot be telling the magisterial court that he cannot testify. He should testify on the document. You see, when people make these mistakes, lawyers, they should admit to all of their fundamental errors. The lawyers themselves should have first and foremost gone before the National Election Commission. I say that because this is a critical point. Even if they were to go to this, maybe they will go to the Supreme Court. If the National Election Commission refuses to go to the magisterial court, they will want to compare the National Election Commission to go, I want to see all of the dynamics. Let them go to the Supreme Court and say, you know what, we want to compare this, we want to bring the document before that is in opposition before the National Election Commission. It's not just an ordinary situation. This is a constitutional issue that we're dealing with, and we want to mix with what is now before the magisterial court. I have said this, and we always follow it. The magisterial court has no jurisdiction over the National Election Commission. Now, the issue of subpoena, why it is true the National Election, the magisterial court has a right to ask a party or any citizen to go before it and testify. The Election Commission is not just an ordinary body. It's not just an ordinary citizen sitting somewhere where you can just call them. It has a special mandate, and its mandate is to ensure no political interference. There should be no judicial interference in the workings of the National Election Commission.
So are you also saying that Mr. Boaka had no right to refuse testifying on a photocopy?
No. In fact, who determines what is the photocopy? The complainant, which I believe, because that's the UP and the ARP. The complainant, are the complainants saying the document that is before the magisterial court is void? Is not legitimate? Is a photocopy? Were they sound in their mind to take a photocopy to the magisterial court on the basis of want to accuse somebody for criminality? So if they are saying, "Oh, we can't testify to this," that's a defeat. They're shooting themselves in the leg.
Thank you. Now, here's the news story that came out and was published in Front Page Africa. It says, Solicitor General's private meeting with star witness Joseph Boakai raises suspicion of settlement. Right? Deal or no deal? As we all know.
I think that's just the writer didn't do well. All right, because in the first place, sometimes you don't have to go to law school. All right, there are some procedures over and over in the courtroom for Joseph Boakai being a witness in a criminal trial, or anyone for that matter. The Ministry of Justice has a statutory responsibility to prosecute cases. Not necessarily that they are a party, but any criminal case that goes to the court, the government of Liberia is prosecuting that criminal case.
Right.
So in the phase where Solicitor General is in conversation with Joseph Boakai is a normal thing. In fact, under normal circumstances, there are some tough cases where you have more than one criminal defendant. It is the right of the prosecuting team to even negotiate with one of those criminals for purposes of granting immunity, so that that person can testify on behalf of the state.
Yeah.
So in this case where Joseph Boakai is being called to subpoena, he's a criminal. I mean, the only thing that the Solicitor General shouldn't do is he cannot tell Joseph Boakai what to say. And I don't think Joseph Boakai, with all his experience in public service, he would even allow that. For political reasons, if he did that, I mean, during the time of cross-examination, there'll be a lot of questions asked him. Maybe someone will temper with him. And you know why? Not temper per se, will ask us a question. We got information that you were in consultation with the Solicitor General. We also got information that you took money from him. Maybe just some way of asking some tough questions. And if he falls short of answering appropriately, then he indict himself. But as to ordinary conversation, and another thing that I saw with that story is that the Solicitor General, Solicitor Sifos, he's being boastful. It's like he engineered the story, because he said, I heard him saying, you know what, I told the old man when he comes, you have to meet me. And so I met him. You know, and the old man said, you know, I'm a legal guru and all of those stuff.
Walking dictionary.
You know, walking dictionary.
You know. Anthony Jensen, first of all, let's establish that you said there is nothing wrong with the Solicitor General meeting or having a meeting, a closed-door meeting with witness Boakai.
Right. That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said.
Because there was a big uproar in Monrovia. I mean, you can see the front page story that say, hey, something is about to happen. This raises suspicion. You said there's no suspicion just because they are meeting.
No, there's absolutely. And I say again, besides Joseph Boakai, let's look at it in a broader context. The Ministry of Justice has that statutory responsibility to prosecute cases, criminal cases. That's a fact. We don't need to brag about that. And because the Ministry of Justice has that responsibility, when there is a witness called to testify, they have to even prepare their witness for testimony. These are all part of the practice. Now, the ordinary people wouldn't see it. Let me also say that we were even told in law school, when two lawyers are on opposite side and they are in conversation, the parties always feel that, hey, these people are just jeopardizing our case. But these things happen. What is more important is that the SG should not be in the business of taking advantage of what the statute provides for them. If it does that, we should be we expect that the Liberia National Bar Association, the Supreme Court, will be monitoring all of these things. And if they find any unethical practice on the part of the SG, they can initiate, you know, some ethical punishment for him. But the issue of why he was talking to Joseph Boakai is a non-issue. Why people be talking about those things? The ordinary people would think, you know, and they should be educated, especially so those who are in the case, both parties, both lawyers. Sometimes it's better, like the Cummings lawyers, should I even address this thing? Say, hey, wait a minute, we have no issue with this man discussing with Joseph Boakai, because
Right.
Joseph Boakai is a state witness. How do you expect
Thank you.
Joseph Boakai to know what happened in the courtroom?
Right.
You have to be told, okay, you go to court, this is how you say it, this is why you say it, and all of those stuff. So that's not an issue. I mean, if you want to deal with the issue, go to the cross of the matter. Joseph
Thank you.
Boakai's SG talking is no issue. It's a normal practice in the courtroom.
Thank you. I also noticed in that report when I was reading it from on Front Page Africa, they quoted somebody they call an observer. It said, by this, Cephas is publicly clearly admitting to a deal being struck with JNB to have him subpoenaed. It speaks of collusion. More worrying is Cephas' revelation that JNB referred to him as a working dictionary of the law, that is, affirming or condoning judicial misconduct and excesses of Cephas. Assuming that Cephas's revelation is true, is JNB tacitly approving of harassment of the opposition by Cephas, such as the continuous disclosure of Punch FM, the arrest of Mo Ali, mine, political prosecution? Please, I highlighted that for a reason. What moral grounds would JNB or UP have to call out Cephas an extreme loyalist of WIA? Should Cephas mistreat him in court, especially so that the NEC case is before the Supreme Court and the Ministry of Justice by law might be called to defend the government interest through NEC and observer noted? With what I highlighted, my political prosecution looks to me that Mr. Cummings is saying this, and Front Page Africa is quoting him as an observer, and they start by saying collusion and all these things. What do you think? What do you make of that?
I think political prosecution, I think they're making reference to Mo Ali. You know, Mo Ali, my understanding is he was arrested before, right?
Right.
And all of those things, there was some case, you know, what have you. But generally, the issue of collusion, there are elements of collusion. There's not just, you don't just sit down and make a story. And those who want to levy allegation must always have these facts and these education. You know, you don't just come out and say, well, there was a collusion. So what we do, okay, we're going to accuse Cephas. Cephas is, you know, trying to manipulate the trial. If Cephas goes, let's assume that Joseph Boakai, that's why the Cummings lawyers should be watching all of these situations. When Joseph Boakai takes a stance, they should have sufficient information as to how to drill the old man. Maybe the old man will say some things that will entangle him as to whether indeed there was a serious, you know, compromise on his part. But just to sit and say because they met, that means they did A, B, C, D. Once again, let me say, Cephas is boastful and he wants to take some glory into this trial. People should be concerned about what has happened between Cephas and the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice said he has no knowledge as to what Cephas is doing in the courtroom. Now we see Cephas in the court. Is it now clear that the Minister of Justice consented for Cephas to come in the courtroom? Have they resolved the issue that was brought to the public? Those should be concerns of those who are writing the stories and those who are, you know, interested in this matter. As far as meeting with Boakai, there's nothing wrong with that. If you had, for example, you had Alexander Cummings, people subpoena and appearing, and Alexander Cummings lawyers will do the same. They will have to meet their lawyer and tell them, okay, ordinary people don't have ideas of what happened in the courtroom. So when they are called to subpoena, lawyers, that's what they do. I mean, you must be able to tell your lawyers, your witnesses where to sit and how to respect the judge. And when the judge is asking questions, how your demeanor should be like, all of those things will be told. When it comes to, when that person enters the bar, even Serena Cephas to win his eyes, that will be unethical.
Yeah.
Serena Cephas to speak, there will be a serious problem. So the outside appearance, so it means that Joseph Boakai will not sit when, except for example, if Joseph Boakai took the stand and for some reason they did not complete cross-examining him, and for any reason the court adjourns, in that situation, Cephas should not be talking to Joseph Boakai. If the old man took the sense and he started to testify, and for any reason he adjourned, the court adjourned for the next day. At that point in time, if anybody saw how you call it, C-force with the old man, that would be a serious legal breach on the part of C-force. But as the case stands, it's like prepare the old man to go and testify.
Thank you. Let me join my colleague Prince Momba in studio. Prince, I know this has been an uproar in Monrovia about the meeting.
Yes, but what I'm getting from the counselor, I mean, it looks strange to me that people who are lawyers and legal-minded people, we proceed in just a form, a manner that is not in the confine of the practice of law. And so, I mean, if he's saying that the ministerial court does not have jurisdiction over the case, and all of those, I mean, the Solicitor General and other counselors from the parties involved, I agree. I mean, I just don't know what is it. But the question I want to ask him, so with this situation, what is the best way forward? If like the way you said, Boga is saying that he cannot testify on the document that there is asked to that a photocopy is who determines what is a photocopy. So what is the best way out in all of this level?
You want me to address that?
Yeah, go ahead. Say,
as I said before, everyone has the right to go to court. But sometimes the decisions that people make could just be wrong. All right. And Joseph Walker has been subpoenaed. And I have not seen the letter that was written him. The court or the lawyer may have told the court, we want clarity on this. Let us assume that the court summoned Joseph Walker to testify on a piece of information in the document that is before the court. And the man who is subpoenaed requesting the judge or the court to subpoena someone else or to subpoena a document that is not before the court. So without you being a lawyer, rationalize it in your own context. Why didn't, it's like, you get a land and you don't get a deed. Maybe you get a falsified deed on your arm. You go sue somebody, say somebody is encroaching on your land. You go there and later on you say, oh, the document that I had, this is not the right deal. Let me go and call the person who sold the land to me to bring the original deed. Why did you go to court in the first place? Why did you go to court? Yeah. Before you go to court, you must be sure that the evidence in your hand is legitimate. It's a proper document that you carry. So to carry a photocopy, now Joseph Walker is telling the public that the UP and the ALP carry a photocopy in a courtroom. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, and that's what I'm about to ask you. Where does that photocopy that is in the courtroom, where does it come from?
The photocopy, it doesn't matter, my brother. The photocopy could be even the verbatim what is on the record, what is in the possession of the National Election Commission. The further is a photocopy, and then if the original has gotten missing, if the court is informed that the original document is missing, then you can use the photocopy in a circumstantial way. But other than that, when we all Liberians and people all around the world are aware that the document is lying down with the National Election Commission, it was the duty of the lawyer for the United Party ALP to ensure that they get that document. And how to get it? They were to file their first complaint before the National Election Commission for a hearing. And they proved that the document was never the correct document. Therefore, that document would have been in the possession of the magisterial court, meaning they would have filed a complaint on the basis of that document. Having they failed to do that, Joe Majala is not wasting their time, maybe just to draw them, saying that they didn't know what to do, draw all of them into the party. At the end of the day, you will dismiss that case. Because I don't see no reason why. Again, That's another segment of the trial that's come about. The National Election Commission is being called to testify. So let's watch and see what the National Election Commission is going to say. But I feel the National Election Commission is not going to go before the magisterial court. To do what? To get an electoral document before it? Also, suppose the election tomorrow, somebody said there was a foul play. Where do we carry the document to a magisterial court? That's not what the framers intended. The framers wanted the election commission to be very independent, to know what they needed to do. Why they gave them the power to hear cases, political matters. The Constitution is very clear. All political parties, all their matters and everything should be cognizable before the National Election Commission.
Thank you.
The either criminality would have been established. Someone the Election Commission would have established that hey, something is fundamentally wrong with these people. There and then, they would have taken that ruling and run to court and go, prosecute somebody. But right now, you see, they want the document now. Oh, you don't get the document initially, but you went to magisterial court. You accuse somebody of being a criminal on a photocopied document. What do you think the court must say?
Thank you. Let me go to Prince again. Prince, it's time to announce our phone lines. So if we have callers or you have questions.
Yeah, so let me just ask this one, and then we go to the phone lines. And so what I wanted to know, the information now in Monrovia here is that the NEC chairperson, Director Brown Ansana, appeared in court today. She took the witness stand today. And then the court page of the framework document that was submitted by the parties that is presented in court, it was a photocopy, and the judge asked her whether she has different documents that was filed by the NEC rather from the parties. She said that was the one that she received, and there are two different dates on that document, and those are some of the concerns that the Unity Party and the AFP are raising, that the document was submitted on the 10th of July, I think so, and then it was notarized on the 14th of July. I don't know what I have any idea on that, and it's just a situation. I mean, what do you think can be done?
So you are saying the NEC chair, Madam David Eto Brown Lasana, went to court today and testified, but the document she presented is photocopy.
Yeah. And then those in the court, the judge asks whether she has any other copy that looks like, that is the original, the one that was filed by, or was the one she took to the court. She took to the court.
Now, you see, if that information he's giving is true, the NEC has subrogated or have submitted her own constitutional authority under the jurisdiction of the magisterial court. She's on duty to do what the court wants her to do. Because in the first place, I didn't know that she has even appeared. I didn't know whether her lawyer told her to go there. So if she's there, even they won the last election record, what can she say? So we have to watch and see what's going to happen. But I feel strongly she should have listened to her lawyers. And if her lawyers told her to go there, I wouldn't have told her to go there, honestly. All right. So we watch out and see what is going to happen. But I wouldn't think, and I still maintain that the National Election Commission should subject herself to the magisterial court in that form of manner. Now, the information the Prince is giving, if it is true that she went with, is that what, 2 pages of the framework document? If that is true, why would a chairperson desiring to go and testify and would take only 2 pages of a framework document to court? So like a lot of things happen, and we can't say much, because when people are in this kind of a terrain, they need the best of legal mind to tell them what to do and what not to do. I don't think now what they are doing going to. I'm afraid that the chairperson of the National Election Commission may be asked to release that post. Meaning there might be political tension to tell us, hey, she's not qualified, she's not competent. Because in this kind of a minor case, I will tell it, this is a political case. In fact, it is you that should have presided over this matter. So right now you're telling us, okay, they have subpoenaed me. Let me go there. Now they say the document you brought, according to the prince, the document you brought is not the document we want. We want this document. Will she say no? I don't have the document. Will she go about now? They say, wait a minute, I make a mistake. I should not appear over there. Well, we don't know the detail. Where she appeared, what were some of the questions asked, and whatever happened. I hope what Prince is saying is true. That she appeared, and then there were some.
She appeared in court today. She appeared in court today, and then the information is that the framework document, the cover page carries.
But Prince, let me ask you. Let me ask you, Prince. So when was she subpoenaed? Because Joseph Braga appeared today. When was she subpoenaed? Because Joseph Braga appeared today, right? And he said he cannot testify on the photocopy.
They all have been subpoenaed by the court. I think she was subpoenaed sometime last week.
Okay, we didn't get
nothing to witness today. She to the witness stand, and those are the information we're getting.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you, Prince. What do we have callers? Because quickly we have like.
I have not announced the number. Let me announce the number. So you can call us on 0770-1051, 0770-1051. If you've been following, or you can also call this alternative line 0777-05-3336, 0777-05-3336. The numbers once more are 0770-1051, 0770-1051, or 0777-05-3336, 0777-05-3336.
Thank you. Here we have someone from the ANC Global. He said the head of NDC today said under oath that the document it has is the original document. Sometimes we get confused now what this original means.
So I have a caller on the line, so let me take this one.
Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm good. So the line doesn't look. I'm asking my colleague from the US. Dennis, are you getting the caller?
Not really. Let the caller say something.
Go ahead, make your point. Go ahead, Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you. Prince, please go ahead and tell us and what he said because we didn't get anything.
Wow. Thank you so much. So, honestly, you did not get the caller you said.
No, we didn't get anything at all. So that would be it for calls. Just tell us what he said.
All right. So he just, I think he's expressing disappointment into the NEC that the NEC should be the body to investigate and come up with finding electoral disputes. But if the NEC will be conducting itself going to court, it worries me ahead of 2023. So those are the concerns he's raising. Let me try this one and see whether you can get this one. Good evening, caller. I'm good. Jenny, where you go from? Well, the rest of the as well.
Not really, but let it go ahead. That should be the last call.
Okay, go ahead, brother. Make your point. You what? In who? CPP or CCC? Why are you disappointed in CPP?
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making your point.
Thank you. Go ahead and summarize that for us, and that will be it for callers as we draw the curtains.
He said he's disappointed in the CPP because he watched an interview from Spoon TV. Supporters of the United Party were calling Alexander Cummings roll. So that is his disappointment that the opposition is not united. That's the point you made.
Thank you. Here are two views here. This one is from Valentine Pressure. So the two did show that the document was submitted on that Friday. NEC was closed on the weekend. At some point of time, they realized that it was not notarized. So ANC had to get the document from NEC to go and notarize it and submit it back to NEC. Then Yankwe Boma, who is an ANC guy, said the two dates on the document is a non-issue. The document was submitted to the clerk of the NEC on July 10. She submitted the document on the same day to her boss. But 4 days later, the NEC boss called Secretary General Toh and requested the document to be notarized. SG Toh immediately went there and notarized the document and refiled it. Anthony Jensen, we are about to close. Let me get your take on the colors and those comments.
Firstly, let me start with the person who said Alexander Cummings was being called Roro. When you have politics mixed with law, these are some of the backlashes that come about. I think when Joseph Walker appears, there were some people with placards, and there was different, readings. So I'm sure that was the reciprocal action on the part of the Walker and the people. So these things are all politics, but I think the ordinary people are too much into these things, and I'm not sure whether people are educated enough to know what is going on. Why you are hungry, why you are not feeding yourself, you can't go to the hospital. Even as this case drag on, there are some people who have land cases and all of those stuff. They are not having the time for their cases to be heard on time. Where you have the big guys, people are all occupying the time and the environment. So when these things are happening, the parties are all, especially lawyers, should tell their clients, and hey, you all control your partisans. The courtroom is a place where you have come to seek justice. That's one thing I would say. On the concern of the other party as to the National Election Commission, not using herself, I will also agree that the National Election Commission should be a body, constitutional body that has a lot of responsibility, and people should be even mindful how they conduct themselves, because elections bring about government, elections bring about officials. So the way you conduct yourself, people are going to ask questions as to all of the commissioners. What are they doing? Are they capable of conducting election, free and fair elections? So in those kind of a situation, it's always good consultation. Should always be a hallmark for those who are charged with a constitutional responsibility. I very frown on the chairperson of the National Election Commission to have gone, to this kind of hearing. And now she's being asked to bring other documents. Now, we didn't get this information. I don't know why the media did not catch that. if she was someone and she was written earlier, why the media could not have said that? Because there's something that's happening. Then, as you sit right here, you're having these discussions, you are helping public opinion, you're helping people to form their decisions. This is all part of the democratic process. When people are not informed, sometimes they take missteps, and at that, it hurts the country. So we believe. We believe that.
We carry on all the local media institutions here in Liberia. I don't know why you're not aware of that.
Okay, I really don't know. I don't know what Dennis said. If you heard it, then we all needed to know whether the chairman of the National Election Commission, was subpoenaed, and then she was asked to appear. And now some of these letters should have also been made public, because people are subpoenaed on specific accounts. Come and testify on this. Let us assume the National Election Commission went before the magisterial court. What did she say? Now we are hearing again whether these are all factual information that she has been told to bring original document, because what is before then is not original. Now these are all mixed information. If a media person had the information, I'm sure they may have written it. I read the front page too. I didn't read anything like the NECB summer. And so again, whatever the situation is, the crux of the matter, or my view, is that this case should have started with the National Election Commission. The hearing officer should have sat on this case. The issue of whether two different dates. Now, we are not saying here there's nothing wrong with the document. That's not my argument here. It's very likely that something is fundamentally wrong with the document. All right? But how to have proceeded, I differ with the procedure that was taken by the lawyers of the UP and the ALP. I strongly believe, and that's my opinion, if I was the one to have started that case, I would have gone before the National Election Commission. I would have filed a complaint. I would have challenged the document before the NEC. The NEC ruling would have been the document I would have relied on to sue Alexander Cummings for act of criminality. But to leave the NEC out and run to the magisterial court raises issue right now. The issue now is the document that I couldn't go for. The court is helping the other party to fish for evidence against one of the party. And I don't think that's how it should work. To the point where the National Election Commission herself is into this matter. Now, any party, maybe the ANP, the ANC lawyers, will even challenge the entire ruling that will come from there on some of these things. Counting, look, first thing and foremost, the National Election Commission has a constitutional duty. She's a constitutional child. In fact, I shouldn't go deep into that, because the parties know what to do in case where somebody, taking the wrong route. Whatever the situation is, Liberia, as we stand, we should be all hopeful to have a multi-party democratic practice in that country. Whatever goes wrong, there are procedural steps. There is no mistake where the Freemans set up a National Election Commission. I was reading the entire provision on the Constitution, what the duty assigned the National Election Commission. When you read that, you will see how forceful an election commission is supposed to be. I don't know whether any Hammer would have gone to sit and be on some magisterial court judge on this account. The first thing maybe a different commissioner would have done was to have consulted with the Supreme Court, because that's where the National Election Commission should go.
Yeah, thank you.
But albeit that's the situation, we monitor everything and see whatever going to happen. My own prediction is this case will either just be thrown at the end of the day, because the National Election Commission cannot indict herself, cannot say the document is fraudulent. Why did she accept a fraudulent document in the first place? Why did she conduct election on that document? Let's ask the question. So should we ask all of the senators to get out? Oh yes, if I'm ordered into the party, if the National Election Commission say the document is fraudulent, then of course we will challenge the setting of all of the senators that got elected on that document and ask all of them to leave and conduct another round of by-elections for their positions. So CPP has put herself in a mess. That's what my conclusion would be.
Yeah.
Now they should put themselves,
big mess.
Put their pride away. How can you resolve these matters? There's nothing wrong for these individuals who want to run the countries. Liberia has a bigger problem. If you can't resolve this thing, then why do you want to be president? Why? If you guys cannot sit around the table and resolve this simple matter, why would you want to be president? The country has bigger problems than what you have before you.
Yeah, that's a big disappointment there.
Very well. The National Election Commission is slipping into politics, and by
Thank
that,
you, thank
you
you,
have to hold yourself responsible, not to be capable of conducting election.
thank you. Tomorrow, on the no, not tomorrow. Tomorrow on the hour on Tough Talking Thursday, we're going to have the CDC opposition and the road to 2023. Now, what will it take to win election 2023? Will it be message, money, mentors, or morale? Join me tomorrow at 7 p.m. for another edition of Tough Talking Thursday. Then
Yeah.
on Sunday, we're going to have Minister Anita Wanti and Miss Odell Gibson will be here, my guests. They became Zogos. They live on drugs. Now they are out. Their amazing stories will be here on Sunday at 11. Then on Saturday, Mr. Ansoni Sia will be here with the Unity Party, strong Unity Party member, Mr. George Lobo, and they're going to be discussing former Vice President Joseph Newman Boakai, the leader, and his 2023 presidential bid. You don't want to miss it. Well, this is how we want to end it tonight, but we're not going to close without getting an input from our guest here tonight. Anthony Jensen, your closing comment.
Well, thank you so much for you and your team for all efforts geared towards helping Liberia's democracy. It works well when the media can play a pivotal role to make sure that the right thing is done in a democratic society. So I think what of what you guys are doing, I mean, sacrificing your time, your little resources, I mean, worth commendation. And we think each and every one of you should do just that. And I think the independent position you're putting yourself in, I listen to you guys, is a way of helping Liberia in a very meaningful way. The media in Liberia, they all should take an independent position so that when all of these political noise is taking place, at the end of the day, people will see truth and live by it. As for this case with the CPP, we still think the CPP could be a formidable force, but I'm also knowledgeable to know that when the CPP is very forceful, that would be some fear will step in from the ruling party. And because of that, the ruling party will be relaxed to see all of these things going. Not that they are into this case, in my view, but the moment that the CPP continue to drag us off this way, that would be, a joyful moment for the ruling party. Now, Liberians, in my view, are seeking for true leaders. So when people conduct themselves in a way that raises a concern, in fact, people will start to think, oh, these people, what can they do? Okay, we know there are other names in the political sphere. We also watch for those names and see whether Liberia can begin to be better come 2023. Not to see people with, a situation of, getting involved into political rigmarole. Because if it's happening now, just on a phrase of a document, and you cannot handle it, we got to be afraid. How are you going to handle the country's problem?
Yep.
So thank you so much for inviting me. And as I said, we will all be available. Liberia has an interesting history, and the history is not too good so far. We are concerned. We have seen other modern nations, and so we believe that Liberia should be better. As of now, there shouldn't be political parties crying on the field. There are bigger issues surrounding the world. We are monitoring Ukraine. We are monitoring other things that are happening. What political parties are doing. Why if there was nuclear weapon today, you will not be talking about CPP document. Are Liberians informed? Do they know what to do in the case of those things? Somebody will say, oh, it's not possible. You can't say it's not possible because you're not following the news. So political parties should always be there for the bigger picture. What can you discuss? Put your people in a position to know that you know what to do. When you start crying little on these kind of little things, that you need a bigger picture. I mean, people will begin to ask questions. Even those political parties or people of other bigger countries, they want to see you struggling over simple issue. and you're not joining them, even to speak about what is happening globally, they don't take you serious. So our people, those who want to get in politics, should know when to get involved. When to pick on an issue is a very important thing.
Thank
Once
you.
again, thank you so much. And as I said, Liberia must get better than what it is. People should know to pick up the issues, discuss them. There's nothing wrong for people to disagree. But when you disagree, you must have a limit of your disagreement. You must reason. If you can't reason, it's like I don't even think Joseph Braga and Alexander Cummings are talking. And it shouldn't be that way. You can disagree bitterly. At the end of the day, call, take a phone. Oh, Joe, how are you, man? I saw you today. Oh, I mean, you appear while your people are calling me, roll. Is that how we want to run the country? Crack some jokes. And at the end of the day, say, hey, wait a minute, Joe. We are come a long way. I posted something in a few days. It's like two of them, knocking legs together. It means then they all belong to some kind of a group. So why are they compromising all of those things now and allow people to drag them further into this kind of conflict?
That's exactly true.
They can resolve this matter. There's nothing big. If you want to run as a president, you must reach a point where you say, hey, wait a minute, I have heard. Or this person say, I have heard. Okay, God, let's forget about who is right, who is wrong. Let's sit together and see what we can do again. Can we drop another thing like that? The ball will be good. The people looking for an alternative. Don't confuse them further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you very much for appearing on such a very, very short notice. We always value and appreciate your time. Prince?
Yes. So, Mr. Thanks to the guest. Of course, it was very much interesting. This is what we do here, Focus on Liberia and Farm FM. We'll bring all of the experts on the show so that the expert opinion can give us the insight, and our listeners can enjoy what comes out of it. So let me say thanks and thank all of you as we close off for this discussion tonight.
Thank you, Prince. Again, Anthony Johnson, we want to thank you. We want to thank our viewers and our listeners all over the globe. At this time, we're going to close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Whether you believe the CPP is still formidable to unseat President Weah, or President Weah is going to get a second term because of the CPP disintegration, or Tiawan Gonglo is going to be the X factor to steal the show and benefit immensely to become president based on the CPP collapse. Whatever your belief is, we are all Liberians, and we must do whatever it takes to make our country the greatest and the glorious land of liberty. Good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberians.